Okay, yeah. So what we wanted to talk a little bit about today was clarity, and uh, the importance of having it, and why it's essential in order to get what it is that you want.
Mhm.
Um, probably the biggest thing about clarity is in understanding what you want in order to get it. Because if you don't have clarity about what you want,
Right.
you're going to be moving left and right and center to try to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
The benefits of getting clarity is once you have clarity and you know what you're going for, then everything about your movements changes.
Mhm.
You then feel that you're available to swing for the fences or to go all out because you know that what you want is defined, and you're not worried about, well, should I take these next steps because maybe I don't know what I want, or maybe I won't, maybe I'll get it and I don't really actually want it. So the benefits of clarity is not just in knowing what you want, but also it changes your whole mindset, because then you're in a position to basically go for it. It's really fundamental. And then one way to get clarity is to listen to yourself. Listen to some of the things that you're saying and that you're feeling, because when you have that sense of clarity, it permeates your entire body. And one of the tools that we use to help gain clarity is drilling down. We have these 5 whys, which helps you ask the question, well, why do you want it? And then why do you want what you said that you want? For example, if you say, hey, I want a new car. And we say, well, why do you want a new car? And you might want a new car because you want the prestige of driving a new car, or you might want a new car because you need some reliable transportation. And those are 2 very different reasons why you want a new car. And then if, let's say you want a new car for reliable transportation, and we say, well, why do you want the reliable transportation? What's missing from what you have today? And driving, why and why and why. And the same thing, of course, applies to getting a job. You might say, well, I need a new job because I have to pay rent. But there's probably more to it than just that, right? There has to be some reason why you want a specific job, and understanding why it is that you want a specific job drives that as well. Another really powerful tool we use to gain clarity is to compare and to contrast, right? Because when you see A versus B, you get a sense for, well, I prefer A. And then you can think to yourself and be conscious of this: why is A better for me? What is it about A that makes it more attractive to me? And then by doing that, you can say, well, A has these properties and B has these properties. It is this that I like about that. So then you can get further clarity about what you're going for. And the other tool that we use too is expand. So to take a different perspective on what you're looking for. So let's say you want a type of a job. So expand that. What is that going to look like in 3 years or 5 years? What is it going to look like from the perspective of somebody else? Maybe the perspective of your friends or the perspective of your family. So expanding your perspective or your perception of what you're looking at helps to gain clarity as well. So that's all we wanted to do. We wanted to give you just a kind of an overview on one of what we think is the most important points of resistance, clarity, and kind of get a chance to kick off the job creator platform community call with that.
So the one thing I'll just add to what Peter said is a little bit about myself, in terms of, we recently made a move and it was a rather sudden decision, and it felt like it was the right thing to do. But as I started talking to people, I started to pay attention to how I was feeling when I said I'm going to be moving and going to Santa Cruz. And we hadn't actually put things in motion yet in terms of, big dollar investments like movers and, setting a time frame. But what I really wanted to do was make sure that the move resonated with me. And one of the things that was particularly powerful about doing that was I paid attention to every time I had an interaction with somebody, big or small, relative to me discussing, the move and what was likely going to happen. I wanted to see how I felt about it. Did I question it? Was I in support of it? Were there uneasy feelings? And the great thing was I got a lot of validation that it was the right thing to do. So we ended up making the move, and I'd argue we could have, maybe we should have done it sooner, but didn't matter. We are where we are. But I used my feelings to validate the decision that we thought we'd made with a lot of clarity. But it was a great way to double check that and make sure, in fact, it did make sense. So
Excellent point. Yeah, it's always good to relate that to something that we do ourselves. So, all right, with that, then we'll turn it over to some questions.
yeah.